Hey, what's happening, y'all? It's me coming back at you again with another vid. Well, Julius Indongo had a recent interview with Sky Sports, and one of the journalists had asked him a question about the pressure of going over to the U.S., which is here in my home country, obviously, going over to Nebraska to face Terrence Crawford for the historic unification bout for the undisputed light welterweight titles. Um, and this is what he had to say. He said here, quote, I'm under no pressure at all. I'm going to Nebraska, USA, to wrestle those titles away from Crawford. And it doesn't bother me that I'm going, into his own backyard. Now, as a team, we have a strategy and a perfect game plan for Crawford. So I'm not, I'm not really concerned with my opponent and what he has in store for me for the pressure of fighting in the United States. Now, he went further to say that, here, quote, fighting at this level is not only about me. It's about my country and Africa at large. So I have to beat Crawford for Africa and my country. Not many African boxers get this opportunity, so that's why that I have to inspire my fellow African boxers. Okay, end quote. I'll leave it there. I mean, all I gotta say is that, what is not like there not to like about Julius Indongo, man? I really love this guy's approach and his attitude and his mindset as a fighter, man. I hate to say this, man, but it's kind of like it's very difficult to try to identify some of these other fighters, with that type of mentality these days. Andre Ward does have that mentality to some degree, but Julius Indongo definitely eclipsed that. All right. This guy right here is a guy who don't care much about the money. Yes, of course, he wants to get paid, but he wants to do something, as he says, something that's very rare to African fighters. He has a chance to chase that greatness and go above that pedestal. And if he does accomplish that, then there's going to be many great fighters coming out of Africa who's going to do what he's doing. They'll be inspired to do that, particularly in Namibia. All right, and I know Namibia has Harry Steinman, who many in that country considers their greatest African greatest fighter. But Harry Simon's had his personal issues, and he himself had got caught up into the fame, and he started to become less disciplined and whatnot. Unfortunately, he had a very, very fatal legal situation where he was involved in a car accident where some people got killed, and he was sentenced to 2 years in prison for that. So, but Harry Simon got his career back on track. He's fighting locally in Namibia, but he hasn't really taken his career back to the world level like he once did before. So, but anyways, this is not about Harry Simon. But what I'm saying is that at this point, if you ask my opinion, Julius Indongo has eclipsed what Harry Simon was able to do. All right, in my opinion. And I think Julius Indongo at this stage is probably the much greater fighter than Harry Simon was. Is at this point. So, yeah, definitely going to be a tough fight for Julius. The toughest fight of his career. I think this is going to be Terence's tough fight at this point. I know a lot of people are writing Julius off, given the fact that we have limited footage of him and, his limited fights. But what he also says too, like I said, there's this quote that kind of struck out the most to me was that, we have a perfect game plan for Crawford, so I'm not worried about what he has in store for me. So that tells me that there's more about Dongo that we probably don't know, given the fact that there's limited footage of him in his fights. Given the fact that, we saw what he did against Eric Troyanowski, and we saw what he did to Ricky Burns. Okay, so. Speaking of the odds going against Julius, I think that what I read somewhere, I think he's a 6-1 underdog at this point, which is kind of expected. But again, this doesn't faze him one bit. He was a 7-1 underdog against Troyanowski. He was a 3-1 underdog against Ricky Burns. And it's amazing that these people are trying to write him off, trying to undermine what he was able to do to those two guys. All right. So, man, oh, man, oh, man. And, yeah, man, definitely looking forward to this contest. We're about 2 months away. We're in January, which will count this month. And then we have August. So, technically, we have about 4, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, about 7 weeks away. So we're about almost close to that fight. So definitely can't wait for it. It's going to be shown on ESPN. It's going to be in Omaha, Nebraska, in Terence's home backyard. So, like I said, I'm pulling for Terence. He's my countryman, so I'm going to support him in this fight. But if Julius wins it, I can't be mad at him either. So I'll be happy if he wins the fight. So definitely looking forward to this historic fight. Definitely is a very big shot in the needle for boxing. Even though 2017 has been a very great year for boxing thus far, but I think this particular fight gave a big shot in the needle for it. So, yeah, let me know what your thoughts about this. I'm gonna drop a link to the article below so you guys can take a look at it. Do you agree with my assessment of the article? Do you disagree? Care to comment, share, subscribe. Signing off. Peace.